Myself. Hi, I'm Nab, aka It Girls and Ice Cream. So I'll be talking about stereotypes. I guess the first question would be, do stereotypes bother me? I would have to say to a certain extent they do. Only because once someone has a certain stereotype that may fit you in some way, they automatically almost like shut off as a person and shut off communicating with you. And usually these encounters are in public or in school settings and things like that, and usually that could affect you in a negative way. So yeah, they do bother me to a certain extent. Do I feel like we can get around it? Of course we can. Affirmative action, etc., etc. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What race do you think has the most stereotypes? Okay, clearly I'm gonna say black people. I'm black myself. Black people, Arabs, and Hispanics I think are targeted the most, especially because they're always in the media, always being scrutinized, and I feel like the media does reinforce these stereotypes over and over and over again. The more movies you see with black people toting guns, you know, just on their hood shit, on their gangster-isms, and, you know, slanging rocks. I mean, like, as long as you keep seeing that on TV, in movies, and I guess anywhere, they're just gonna keep being reinforced. What race do you think is the most stereotypical of all races? Oh, I don't know, you know. Black people? So, where do I think stereotypes originate from? I think that all races, they have their pros and cons, and I feel like stereotypes come from just a combination of all their cons, and they're just overtly, like, I guess, scrutinized and blown into, like, massive proportions, and pretty much, yeah, they're just associated. First you poke fun at these flaws and these cons certain races have, I guess originating from their culture or whatever it may be, and then it just becomes a stereotype. So yeah. The next question: has anyone considered me a stereotype? Yes, of course. Every day I'm dealing with stereotypes, but I mean, you know, after a while you get used to dealing with them, and at first they used to bother me. I didn't know how to handle it, especially when I first got to York University. You know, just, you can tell that everyone is just kind of like expecting you to be a certain way because, you know, well, in my situation, because I'm a black girl, and it's like, well, no. First of all, I enunciate my words, so, I mean, I don't talk hood, or well, I can, but I mean, like, I just don't. All the time, like, considered a stereotype all the time, like, oh, where do you live? And I tell them where I live, and they're like, oh, you live in a house? Like, oh, like, you guys own your house? Oh, you guys have, like, multiple cars? And it's like, yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with that, or I don't see anything, like, wrong with associating a black family or black people with these things, because those are, like, considered normal, right? But they're like, okay, well, wow, you live, like, in a richer side of West Toronto or whatever it may be, and it's like, well, thanks for stereotyping me, but, yeah. Okay, so the next question: do you find being judgmental and stereotypical similar? I want to say no, only because I feel like being judgmental, being judgmental before you actually communicate with someone and kind of get to know them is being stereotypical. But if you get the chance to know them and you know the person for what they are or who they are and like what type of character they do have, and you're being judgmental, I feel like that's a different thing. They've earned whatever you judge them as. Not saying that you should be judgmental and it's okay, but I'm just saying if it comes to that, I mean, chances are you'd have already given the chance to this person to kind of prove themselves as a human being, not as a, you know, whatever, a black person or a white person or Hispanic or whatever it may be. So yeah, I feel like they may be remotely similar, but I feel like they're not the same thing, and people get them confused all the time. And that's a wrap.